Before we begin today, I want you to pause just for a moment. Close your eyes and think of a farmer. Not an image from an ad, but a real person, somewhere in a quiet village trying to grow food, with a sky that no longer keeps its promises. Waiting for a loan, hoping for a subsidy, living with uncertainty while feeding all of us. Now imagine what could change if someone actually built a system that worked for them. What if technology wasn't just built for the apps and cities but for fields and weather and waiting hearts? They say some revolutions begin with rage, but others begin with a restlessness. A question that won't go away, a system that stopped making sense, and two men sitting in a quiet room asking, what if we could fix this? No grand funding, no inherited legacy, just a problem too deep to ignore and a will too strong to quit. Yes, this is the story of InGreens. Not just an agri-tech company, but a movement born from frustration, science, and stubborn hope. From floods and droughts to satellite imaging and smart subsidies. From forgotten villages to policy tables and global food chains. Yes, it's a story of farmers, of data, of quiet courage. It's also a story of friendship, grit, and belief, the kind of belief that makes people move mountains without making noise. So, here you are listening to Metamorphosis, the podcast that drives into stories of deep change and bold beginnings. Hi, I am Tanushri Majumdar, and this is your reminder to ignite the fire within you. So, let's get started. Back in 2012, the Indian agri-tech landscape was still evolving, fragmented, scattered, and largely untouched by meaningful innovations at scale. Farmers, the hand that fed a billion people, were navigating a world that rarely worked for them. Subsidies took months, insurance claims dragged on for years, data was distant, and trust that was nearly invisible. In that middle of this systemic inertia, two individuals, Ranadip Das and his deep operational acumen and strategic foresights, and Manas Mandal, a rural transformation expert grounded in grassroots innovation, came together to reimagine what was possible. That reimagination took shape in the form of InGreens, not a startup born in a city cafe, but in a real field, government offices, and long conversation with people who felt unseen by policy and profit alike. Their vision was to create a seamless digital infrastructure for agriculture, one that supported both state governance and private agri value chains. What began as a bootstrap startup soon grew into India's only full-suite agri-governance SaaS platform. InGreens today works across both the government and private sectors, offering solutions like smart crop insurance technology, real-time direct benefit transfers, licensing, subsidy management systems, AI-based crop advisory tools, and weather integrated soil health systems. But their mission didn't stop there. On the private side, they have built robust IoT-enabled platforms for precision farming, AI-powered supply chain forecasting, and a rural credit scoring system that is inclusive, intelligent, and scalable. InGreens also runs an OTT content platform for farmers offering hyper-local need-based educations and updates. Now, let's look into as to why InGreens matters. Because somewhere in Orissa, a farmer named Raghunath once had to wait 2 monsoons for an insurance claim. Can you just imagine that? Because somewhere in Bihar, a woman named Kusum had never seen a soil health card until one arrived in her hand with her name on it, and her land and real-time advice on how to nurture it. Because somewhere in West Bengal, thousands of fishers, livestock keepers, and small traders are now seen, counted, and supported. So this is just not agri-tech, it is agri-trust. This survey is expanded into product innovations as well. Under the Dheki brand, InGreens launched a range of ready-to-eat and health-supported and focused food products. From cold-pressed oils to millets to honey and native grains. They also offer drone-based pesticides as a service solutions, private labeled organic pesticides, and nutrient blend development, which has been made through field tastings and feedback. This is just not about digitization, it's about deep design for real lives. So now you tell me, what sets InGreen apart? Let me help you in that. Their USP lies in their dual lens model, a rare balance between public policy delivery and private market inclusions. They understand the language of the farmer and the framework of governance. Their systems are multilingual, low bandwidth compatible, and designed for last mile usage, tested in real world conditions, often refined in real time. They don't create solutions from lab, they co-create them with villages. And the result speaks for themselves. InGreens have served more than 12 million farmers, disbursed over rupees 10,500 crore in DBT, processed over 3 crore plus crop insurance applications, and enabled one of India's fastest indemnity disbursement system, reducing producing and processing time from 18 months to 30 days. They have onboarded 58,000 plus licensed agri-retailers, supported government policies, and brought deep procurement and smart analytics under one roof. Their field teams of 5,000 gram doots, local ambassadors, and ground workers is their bridge to the people. This kind of ground root trust that isn't built overnight. Their growth is not just upward, but it's outward and inclusive. InGreens has grown at 20% of CAGR for the past several years. They achieved operational profitability in just their second year and did it without external venture capital. Today, they have expanded their D2C food brand, exploring exports and collaborating with IITs and OEMs to take their tech stack deeper into the rural India. But beyond their milestones, the true recognition lies in stories. A farmer who once waited 2 monsoons for insurance now receives help before the next sowing season. Villagers who were once invisible in policy databases are now tracked, supported, and seen. And the officers in flood-prone districts turn to InGreens dashboard when lives are at stake. So there's a reason why people send wedding invitations to InGreens field team, because they don't just offer services, they offer presence, respect, and reliability. That's important. That's the impact you can't fabricate. And that is metamorphosis, not in pitch decks, but in people. Now, as you listen to this today, remember, InGreens didn't start with capital. It started with a problem, with a promise, with two men, Ranodip Das and Manas Mandal, who chose to stay when most of them quit. It's a soul story of solutions, of system built with compassion, of data that breeds dignity, and of people who chose service over shortcuts. And that brings us here to this very moment when you, my dear listeners, have just started through a decade-long transformation compressed into a few minutes. Next week, we will go deeper. You'll hear directly from Manas Mandal, co-founder, strategist, and a believer in micro impact with macro heart. We'll talk about the failures, the cracks, the resilience, the night of doubts, and the small spark that lit the fire that kept the change makers alive. Until then, remember, start small, start where it hurts, start where you can care the most. So, this is Tanushri Majumdar signing off from Metamorphosis. Stay grounded, stay bold, and as always, ignite the fire within you. Bye bye.